In today's video, I am so excited to present to you guys our annual snowfall video. This has been one that has been in prestige weather for so long now, and I am so excited to present it to you guys. One of my favorite videos of the year, without a doubt, is this one. So I am so excited to be here talking about this. Before we get into things, be sure to check out Prestige Weather. Again, this one was exclusive over there for many weeks, and we are going to be making a third winter forecast over there very soon, where you'll see that one for a couple of weeks before it ever gets released on YouTube. It's only $5 a month, and you can check it out in the description and pin comment down below. So, kind of in comparison to our when to expect your first freeze video, we worked our way kind of up with that one. We're going to work our way down. So, or better yet, vice versa. So we worked our way down, we're going to work our way up today. So we're going to start with will see snow on average and work our way out from there. So the gray areas underneath the white area is where on average you're not even going to see any snowfall. Does that mean this year you're not going to see any? Well, absolutely not. But on average you won't. And the very northern areas in this gray area, it's probably on average once every other year, ranging from there to like Florida. Some areas in central Florida might be like once every 10 years you might see flakes, or maybe even less than that. And then Miami, I don't even know. Florida Keys, I don't even know. Maybe once every 50 or 100 years you might see flakes. So it gets crazier and crazier the further south you go. But in general, on average, the average year, you're not going to see snow, if that makes sense. Now, in the white area, it's kind of the opposite. On average, you will see snow. Does that mean you're absolutely going to see snow? No, but on the average year, you will. So everywhere in the white, congratulations, you do expect to see snow on the average year. As we add this second layer, we reveal two things. One, this is now your dusting to 3 inches on average area, the white area. So for a lot of areas in California, Nevada, Arizona there, Texas, Louisiana, southern Arkansas, a lot of Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina coast there. That is where you're going to range anywhere from about a dusting to 3 inches on average. Now, this kind of lighter blue area, this is where you expect to see above 3 inches overall. And once we release or kind of reveal here our next layer, we'll have a 3 to 6 inch area to show you. We're going to go ahead and do that actually. And as you can see, this kind of thin light blue band now is your 3 to 6 inch area. So these areas throughout Texas, some of Oklahoma, Arkansas, the northern deep south, I guess you can call it, areas in some of the Carolinas there, you see about 3 to 6 inches. But if you're in this kind of deeper ocean blue here, not even quite ocean blue, it's more of like a royal blue. I don't know what you'd call that, but that's where you expect to see above 6 inches. So that is what we expect to see for that area. We're going to reveal our next layer here, which is your above 10 inches area. This is more like an ocean blue in my opinion, or a navy blue, but above 10 inches for these areas, I'd say that's about half the nation here. And now this kind of remaining kind of, again, royal blue there, that is going to be your 6 to 10 inch area. So we see a lot of the Pacific Northwest, Oklahoma, Arkansas, areas in Tennessee, North Carolina, a little bit of Virginia there. That is going to be 6 to 10 inches of snowfall. That darker blue, again, is going to be your above 10 inches area. As we add our next layer, this one's kind of more of a magenta there. We see the remaining darker blue area there. That is going to be 10 to 15 inches of snowfall on average. So we see some of Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, some of the Ohio Valley there, into portions of North Carolina, Virginia, the Delmarva there. That is all going to be 10 to 15 inches of snowfall. Now that magenta area is your above 15 inches of snowfall. And I still want to say this is about half the nation. So we're getting towards the snowier half now is what we're taking a look at. And as we reveal this next layer, this reveals again two things. First off, this above 20 inches area there in the pink. So for a lot of the Northeast, Mid-Atlantic, Ohio Valley, Great Lakes, Upper Midwest, Northern Plains, all of the Rockies, of course, and your mountainous west areas, this is all seeing above 20 inches of snowfall on average. The remaining magenta band there is going to be 15 to 20 inches of snowfall on average. So again, we see a lot of Kansas in there, a lot of Missouri, a thin band through Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, into eastern Kentucky there. All of these areas average about 15 to 20 inches of snowfall. Let's add our next layer, and this is your above 30 inches area, and we see two of these actually in the red there. One for the mountainous west that includes both the Rockies and kind of those more Pacific mountainous areas, and then one here for the upper Midwest through the Great Lakes into the Northeast and New England. And that's your, again, your above 30 inches area. The remaining pink region, which we see a lot of this through the Northern Plains, a lot of the Ohio Valley, and portions of the Mid-Atlantic, that's going to be 20 to 30 inches of snowfall on average for those areas. Let's go ahead and reveal our next layer and final layer here. And this is your above 48-inch region. So this is going to be for the Rockies. Again, the mountaintops of the west there throughout the Cascades and the Sierra Nevadas. We see portions of the Great Lakes that experience lake effect snowfall. And then a lot of the mountainous areas, both in the Appalachian Mountains there for West Virginia, Maryland into Pennsylvania, and then for a lot of New England in those more mountainous areas. These are all your above 48-inch areas. And there's plenty of regions within here that average so much more than this, into the hundreds of inches, especially there in the Rockies. But it's for very, very tall mountains, you know, so it climbs so quickly that it would be hard to even draw layers on here that would be visible. But it really just depends on where you're located, your elevation, etc. So there's a lot of details that go into that. For the two remaining kind of just classic cherry red areas there, that is going to be your 30 to 48 inch areas. So we see a lot of the lower lying areas in the mountainous west, so areas near the mountains that are high elevation but not necessarily mountaintops. We see areas there in the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes, and the Northeast, as well as some of the Mid-Atlantic there in that 30 to 48 inch area. And that is, again, going to be your extremely high up there on the average snowfall list area. So that is our average annual snowfall. Let's just update you guys on our second winter forecast and talk about some things that could change this in the snowier or less snowy direction. So for one thing, the temperature pattern, we're going to load this in. Here we go. So we expect warmer than normal conditions in the west overall. This is indicative of a positive PNA pattern that stands for Pacific North American Oscillation. And all that means is warmer temperatures really, really building in for this area. So we're going to draw a positive here. And this causes cold air to kind of balance everything out by diving southward into a lot of the eastern and central regions. This is the pattern that we expect to prevail. And this is going to cause two things. Probably a little bit less snowfall out west, especially in the lower elevation areas. The Rockies are so cold that even with warmer temperatures, it doesn't really make snowfall not happen, if that makes sense. I mean, if you're going from 15 degrees up to 25, it's not going to rain. It's still going to snow. It's just going to be warmer snow, if that makes sense. The east is a little bit different, where above average temperatures would definitely be above freezing for a majority of the day in a majority of the areas. But below average temperatures could take us into more of those freezing temperatures. So you see a lot more of an influence here from the temperatures the further east you go, I would argue. With these below average temperatures expected in the east, it tells me this. If we can combine this with storminess, that is going to cause the expectation to be above average snowfall, which means perhaps higher than what we just went over, is what we would be potentially talking about here. Speaking of precipitation, let's just dive into it. And here is that precipitation forecast. It is important to note that we are in an El Nino year, which changes everything. A classic El Nino causes these areas to be dry. And sure enough, that is what we're calling for here as of our second winter forecast. Again, we are going to be releasing the third one very soon in Prestige Weather. So we will be updating some of this, but for now, this is the most up-to-date winter forecast. By the way, a La Nina causes the opposite. Very, very wet in this area, so a complete opposite. The southwest is expected to receive more storms as a result of that El Nino, so perhaps Sierra Nevadas, Southern Rockies, areas like that. We could be seeing a lot of above average snowfall, and there is usually a massive difference between El Ninos and La Ninas, especially in this area. And I think the third, and not any less impactful impact here from the El Nino is the nor'easter pattern that you expect to see. You expect to see a lot of these storms moving through this area and kind of connecting here, and then if they get into the Gulf like this, they begin to develop into very, very intense storms. This brings severe weather to a lot of these areas, and to the east, or better yet, to the west and north of these low pressure systems, they bring a whole lot of snowfall oftentimes. So we'd be on high alert throughout the eastern seaboard. Sometimes these storms will move through a little bit more like this, where you'll see rain on the eastern end. Very, very often this happens. So you see rain down here, and then we see, I'm going to do X for snowfall, but you see X for snowfall to the west and the north of that low throughout the track. So that would be a different type of a storm. So again, these can track anything between all of this. It can even cut like this depending on the jet stream. So anything within this type of a track is what we kind of expect to see a lot of. Could dive further south and be up the coast. That's the rarest, is this kind of track, but this does cause major blizzards. So it only takes one, you know what I mean? It's that type of storm. So with this in mind, again, the temperatures and the precipitation, it all kind of leads me to believe that we could be experiencing above average snowfall, particularly in this area and the southwest. And then for a lot of the Cascades and Rockies, we could be seeing a little bit of some below normal snowfall. Although when you average hundreds of inches, like a lot of these mountaintops do, what does slightly below average snowfall even do? You know what I mean? It's not, you're not going to like end the winter and be like, oh, it only snowed 150 inches this year, not 200 inches. It's not, that's not even like a really noticeable number. You don't really notice it. It's just like it was really snowy regardless, I think, at least in my opinion. Maybe you notice, but I feel like at those types of numbers, it becomes a little bit less noticeable, and it's just snowy and cold every single winter. Anyway, this has been a very exciting video to make, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. We do upload every single day, weather uploads just like this one, so be sure to subscribe. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it, leave a comment down below, and I will see you guys in the next video.